Memories, 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 memories from the good old nostalgia retro times of video gaming. From my point of view, we all have our different memories of different video game consoles, whether from the 80s, 70s even, or even the late 90s. As a matter of fact, these game consoles that we grew up with have very much more sentimental value and personal value to ourselves, rather than being born in this type of generation and looking back and thinking, oh, those games absolutely suck because they're old and they're nostalgia, they're retro, they don't have online, they don't have DLC. Well, many of us have different video gaming memories that we are extremely fond of, not taking in that trash that I just mentioned just then. So, my specific gaming memories are going to start with the Nintendo 64. Why? Well, it was one of the very first video gaming consoles that I actually owned after it was released. I think I got it for Christmas. I'm pretty sure I did. Now, I have played other video games starting from the SNES and Mega Drive, but I didn't actually own them, so you can see where I'm going here when I actually said one that I actually owned. Let's start off with the earliest memory I had. Now, I remember being about a little 6 or 7 year old nipper, and I got this. It was either for Christmas or I got it as a gift, one of the two. The very earliest games I got was actually Super Mario 64, which I really enjoyed playing that game to pieces. That game was absolutely astonishing because I played the Mario games before that, like the Lost Levels and Super Mario 2 and Super Mario 3. And I thought those games were just absolutely astonishing. Hence the reason Nintendo were absolutely genius level intellects in the 90s, producing games that they produced. And with Super Mario 64, I was just addicted to that game. I did not want to stop playing it. Every time I came home from school, hence the reason why I still even went, got changed, watched a bit of Toonami and Dragon Ball Z, Cartoon Network, and on the N64. Day in, day out. That's what it was like for me. The N64 had me hooked on a lot of its titles. So Super Mario 64 was one of the dream wonders of my childhood, with the astonishing design levels and the awesome characters you get to fight, and big bob-ombs and those big massive block things that fall on you, and the Chain Chomp as well. I remember him. Being Mario, that Mario game actually added to a new perspective for me, because it was really three-dimensional and massive world environments in each stage that you play, not to mention jumping through paintings to actually get through the level. Genius. Absolute awesome, legendary game that was. Cannot disagree with it. Or games like, Snowboard Kids. Snowboard Kids was actually one of the very first racing games I actually played for the N64. Actually, it was pretty much one of the greatest racing games I've actually played even to date. The N64 actually carried 4-player compatibility, which made it really awesome for video game tournaments that I actually held with my cousins and family and friends. So every now and again, every few weeks or so, I actually thought, okay, get a name list, see if we can make it this week or that week, and just play away at all the games that we actually had, ranging from Mario Kart, Mortal Kombat, Snowboard Kids, Bomberman, GoldenEye. Just the games that mainly had 4-player compatibility. If it was a small gaming tournament, usually like 2 players or something. Oh, goodness me, memories. There were absolute awesome gems on the Nintendo 64. I love the N64 because not only was it a big, massive sentimental value in my eyes, with its library of over 300 odd games, it holds very great titles of its platformers as well, such as Banjo-Kazooie as well. Another legendary gem to the N64. Anyone who says that game sucks is a brain-dead, dribbling moron who doesn't know a video game if it was to smack him along. Right, like that. So hard. Hulk style. Right? Where was I? Oh yeah, Banjo-Kazooie. Along with games that Rare created, along with what's it called? Donkey Kong Country. Absolute awesome of a gem created by Rare. And Conker's Bad Fur Day, which was more or less a little bit over to the adult scene, but it was a really fun game nonetheless. The N64 came in many different colours. I mostly had the black one. My cousins usually had the black one as well, but they had different controlled colours. I stuck with I had the grey and red one, I think. No, I had grey and green. Those are my 2 controllers. My cousins actually had all other colours, blue, yellow, red, so to speak. When I actually get more, dosh in the mosh, I'll be actually purchasing more of the different colours of the console itself, along with all of the retro titles for the Nintendo 64, meaning I'll be collecting every single game on the N64 that's ever been done, especially the ones that I've actually missed out on. Wonderful memories of the N64 always include things like how long did I play it for, what were my games that personified my type of interest for the game console itself. Some of the games which I've just mentioned. Some games like Blast Corps and Wet Tricks were very unique, and it's unfortunate I've not actually seen these games actually been, redone, so to speak, or have a sequel. There's a lot of games for the N64 that haven't had that much of a chance of being in the public eye, such as Killer Instinct Gold, for example. That game needs to be remade, folks. That game was absolutely awesome. I preferred that to Mortal Kombat in every single way and form. It's just a superior game. I said it in my vlog in Mortal Kombat versus Killer Instinct. Why this hasn't come as a crossover game, I don't know. Games like Superman 64, I have yet to actually play that game. N64 was quite unique. It provided a very unique concept with its games. Not all the games were like just 2D side-scrolling. It was more or less an open-world environment as well. And the game consoles itself was absolutely awesome with its saving features. Most games that you can actually play on the N64, which I remember growing up, I didn't have to worry about buying a memory card. That was a big change from playing the PS1. I thought, no memory card? Cool. Certain games you did, but then again, with certain games you can actually use the cheat codes to actually play the game. Those awesome memories of using cheat codes doing games, that was absolutely fun, especially with games like GoldenEye. Movie-based Bond game, I thought, wow, and it's done an absolutely awesome job of being a first-person shooter. It was one of the finest, but not the first-person shooter I've actually played. That GoldenEye stands alone of being one of the greatest first-person shooters, along with Perfect Dark. So those two could go at loggerheads, going against each other. But for me, it holds with GoldenEye. Played that more, a lot more fun in my eyes, and it was a lot more comedic with its weapon features. You have so many gadgets inside your little jacket pocket to make Batman look like as if he ain't got much. You see, these video games that were released on the N64, you can actually say most of them were classic gems for the N64 gaming genre back in the 90s, as a matter of fact. So I'm so happy and privileged that I actually played the majority of these games. Another thing that stands out with the N64 itself was when I played it so much, I was actually really, really good at it. Now, you can see where I'm going with this, but let me rephrase that. Compared to what I am like now, I'm absolutely trash at the N64 games, because compared to what I used to be, I used to command and conquer each game I played. Now I'm playing them to actually get that back, so to speak, right? There's so many games that I have yet to even complete. Even back then I couldn't manage to. That's what games were back then. You couldn't really complete them, even till today. You actually had to use the cheats or look online to actually try and beat them. But I didn't actually do that. I actually saw the challenge and tried to get past it. Games like Body Harvest for one, Torok for another. Didn't actually manage to complete those games. Blast Corps is another one. I haven't fully completed that game yet. I've completed it, but I've not accomplished it. These games back then were just absolutely awesome. The fact is as well, I actually beat my cousin every game he played. He was such a whiny little... Yeah, even if he watches this video, I'm going to still say it, right? When you're young, when you lose at video games, it's only a natural tendency you get upset, right? But I actually had to dim my gaming level down to his level to actually make him feel like as if he's got a challenge on his hands. Don't mean to blow my own trumpet here by waking up a billion soldiers shooting arrows and spears at my way, but I was actually really, really good at N64 games. People were like... 1 second. People were actually complaining that this This awesome controller was bad with its control scheme. What's wrong with it? I was so adaptable with this. There's nothing wrong with this controller. If you were complaining so much about this controller being bad and naff, then I'm going to say this, you just weren't really that good at being an N64 control pad player. I was. At that age as well, I was really, really commanding this thing like it was second nature. I was all over this, hence the reason why I was so good at the games. Hence the reason I did lose quite a lot. But that's how you get better at games, isn't it? I was not really particularly good at football games or sport games. Mostly the football ones was my weakest point. Games like International Superstar Soccer, which in my opinion is still the greatest football game to date. It's so fun. You can score from the halfway line and customise your character, which is awesome. And it's more or less a national game with uncopyrighted names, which means the names are just made up. Adds an extra key to the comedy factor. See, the N64 did produce great quality games. Challenging, most of them, yeah. Pokemon games are absolutely awesome, which I'm happy they did make back in those days. I loved Pokemon as a kid. Only the 150 Pokemon stays true in my beating heart. After that, it turns sour. Venomous, choking, sour. I do not even want to look at that thing anymore. I still play Super Smash Bros. Melee and Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And yeah, they remind me of Pokemon. But the fact is, Pokemon now, no, thumbs down, massively. Don't even want to go near it. Oh, excuse me. So with the N64 being one of the greatest consoles I've actually played, I have so many fond memories of it. Absolutely many of them. How do you feel about the N64? Did you like it? Did you think it was bad? You see, I thought some games were not good. I'm not saying every single game on the console itself was absolutely a masterpiece. Only a few games fit that criteria, like Ocarina of Time. Oops. Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye. You know, there's certain games that set an example for games today that make them look bad in terms of quality. Now, the graphics were 64-bit graphics, which I like to call them as a nickname, even though that is technically what they were. I still think that the replay value, or not think, more or less still feel that replay value on these games are still sky high. Compared to games today, the N64 makes some games today look trash. Right? Do you feel like the N64 still has the flair like it used to, or ever has? Do you feel that this game console should not have been made? How do you feel? Do you have many fond memories of the video game system itself? Do you even like it? Did you think that the controls, the games, the company itself did a good job? Do you think that 4-player compatibility was even worth, you know, extra fun? I have so many. Oh my goodness. I can't exactly tap into all of these memories at once. I'm going to have to go to one of those professionals so I can relive my childhood. I would actually love that. Go back in time to play these games again and do the same thing again. And the cycle of that, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. I'm Dr. Virtual. Thank you very much for watching this video about me going into a little bit, because compared to my gaming memories, that was only a little bit of what I went into. So, how do you feel about the Nintendo 64? Do you have any fond memories of it or any of its games? Video response or comment in the comments section. And as usual, my friends, I'm going to have to end this video this way. May retro games live on.